Welcome everyone to another exciting episode of H&R Movie Talk. We are your hosts RT Mac and
Gibson.
Yes, and he has got an alien on his face. What could we possibly be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the Alien films along with a review of Alien Covenant that just recently came out.
Yes, it all began in 1979 with Ridley Scott's Alien starring Sigourney Weaver, one of the most badass sci-fi heroes ever.
The film also starred Tom Skerritt, Veronica Cartwright, Harry Dean Stanton, and the late John Hurt, along with Ian Holm and Yaphet Kotto.
Oh, and Tom Skerritt, also from Top Gun.
That's right. Now, in the beginning, when Ridley Scott was looking for an alien, looking for a creature, the creature that was originally designed kind of looked a little cartoonish. So he was looking through a book called Necronomicon, which contained the artwork of the late H.R. Giger. And if you've ever seen H.R. Giger's work, you know, it was pretty surreal. He was the master of biomechanics. When he saw the Necronomicon 2, that was his creature, that was his alien. Now, who is he going to find to fit in that type of a costume? It was long, it was slender, it was freaky looking. One day he was in a restaurant with his production crew and looked over and saw a 7-foot Nigerian man by the name of Balayi Badejo. He was studying to be a graphics art designer. So he approached Balayi Badejo, and Balayi couldn't really believe that he was being approached to be in a film. But he agreed. They put the costume on him, and he became the legendary alien that we all know and love to fear.
And you know, you said Necronomicon. I'm sure a lot of you remember that from the Evil Dead franchise.
Yeah.
We'll eventually talk about that down the road because Bruce Campbell definitely deserves his own set of episodes.
That's right. Now, we're going to start talking about the Alien film, starting with 1979, and here it is. There was a specific scene, which is pretty tame by today's sense of gore. The infamous chestburster scene was so intense that it actually made audience members leave the theater. True story. That's right. And I'm gonna give a little Alien story myself. The trailer for Alien, the one where the alien egg was just cracking, you hear that weird music in the background. When I was a kid, 9 years old, that scared the crap out of me. I couldn't stand watching that commercial. Also, when I went to Toys R Us, and this is crazy, this is where the marketing thing got really crazy. There were kids' toys based on an R-rated film. And parents were upset. I walked into a Toys R Us store, right? And I saw what? I saw Alien puzzle games. I saw Alien Target games. And I walked around the corner and went into the action figure section, and there they were, stacks and stacks and stacks of Alien action figures. I'm talking about the old ones, the 18-inch ones. So, you know, me being the kid that I was, I wanted to face my fears. This is a real freaky looking creature. Why would they have something so scary in a kid's toy store? So I picked up the box. I explored it. I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. Now, you know, when they have a doll in the box, it's not bolted down very well. So when I turned that thing over and that thing shifted, I dropped the box and ran out of the aisle. True story. Scared the crap out of me. Never really saw Alien until I saw it on WHT. WHT. That came before cable in certain areas.
Listening to your story reminds us both about the first Alien movie and how that one alien was scaring the entire crew, killing them off one by one. Before Ripley, you know, Sigourney Weaver had to take charge, take things into her own hands, and make sure that alien went bye-bye.
Which comes to 1986, when James the Man Cameron, the creator of the original Terminator and Terminator 2 and Titanic, came back with what was supposed to be just called Alien 2, but then later on turned it into Aliens.
With an S.
With an S, because there was a lot more than one. Let's talk about Aliens, probably one of the most quoted films in movie history. I mean, like, game over, man, game over. Get away from her, you bitch. You know, I may be synthetic, but I'm not stupid. I mean, all those.
And we see the introduction of the Queen.
The Queen, yeah, the Queen alien, which was created specifically for that film. It wasn't really an H.R. Giger design. It was based on the aliens, so they created one pretty much from scratch. Now,
it makes sense
yeah.
though. It makes sense because, you know, with the alien in the first one, you have to imagine that there's going to be more than one, and that there's going to become some kind of leader.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a beehive.
Yep.
You have a bunch of drones and then the queen.
Aliens, starring Sigourney Weaver, once again reprising her role as Ripley. You had Carrie Henn, who played Newt. You have Michael Biehn, the man, he plays Hudson. No, I'm sorry, Hicks. He played Hicks.
You know what really got on my nerves about Aliens?
What?
It's how they treat Ripley in the beginning. When they have that council meeting, basically interrogating her about what happened,
Right.
you know, years prior.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're blaming her for something that wasn't her fault.
Right.
You know, and all through my mind I'm thinking, this little so-called committee deserves to be the next victims of the aliens.
Absolutely. Moving right along, we had comedian Paul Reiser. We had the legendary Lance Hendrickson, who played Bishop. We also have the late Bill Paxton, who did play Hudson. Hey man, game over, man, game over. He's probably one of the most memorable characters in that film. Another memorable line in that movie, in the pipe, 5 by 5. Remember that? We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
And you know what we also saw? That big machine that Ripley gets into to fight the Queen.
Oh yeah, the loader.
It's like a Power Ranger-esque kind of thing. She gets into a Zord to fight the monster.
It's very mech-like. You know, if you're familiar with the term mech, you know, in Japanese animation, she climbed into that thing and beat the hell out of that Queen alien.
She was in her own Megazord.
Yeah. Also, let's not forget the legendary Jeanette Goldstein, who played everybody's favorite lady marine badass, Vasquez. Let's rock!
It was definitely an 80s kind of movie.
Now, check this out. Here's a little trivia about Aliens. When Aliens first was aired on network television, Channel 2, CBS, and this is what we had to look forward to, kids. We didn't have the internet. We couldn't watch movies on demand. We had to wait for things to either come on cable or to come on network television.
They were a lot more patient back then.
Exactly. Now here it is. When Aliens first appeared on network television, of course, during that time, they couldn't show all that violence on network television, so they cut out a lot of things.
Yeah.
So they really didn't have a whole lot to go on. So what did they do? They took some deleted scenes and played them for the first time on network television, and Aliens fans were treated to a specific deleted scene, infamously known as the robot drone gun scene. That was the very first time you saw that scene where they set up the drone guns and they were shooting, automatically shooting at all the aliens, and there were so many aliens that the drones ran out of bullets. True story.
Pretty good scene.
Yep. Moving right along.
And now we have
Alien 3.
Alien 3. Not a very popular sequel.
Yeah, directed by David Fincher. That was his directorial debut.
But you know what? I told, you know, Joe Lewis, the cinematographer of The Zone, that we would be kind to it.
Yeah, we'll be nice.
So let's be nice to it. I mean, we have. Didn't Sigourney Weaver come back for this one?
Sigourney Weaver did reprise her role as Ellen Ripley.
So we got her.
Yeah, we got her. We had a pretty decent performance by Charles S. Dutton and also Charles Dance. And
that's the one where she had. Didn't she have the alien growing inside her?
Yep. Somehow there was a facehugger that made it on the Sulaco. We're thinking that maybe Bishop probably put it up there and probably captured it on egg real quick and kept it without our knowing. But then we find out about exactly what happened when the body of Bishop was then kind of reconstructed, and she talked to him and told him that yes, there was an alien on the ship all that time. But it was a very, very sad excuse for killing two beloved characters, Newt and Hicks.
Yeah, that's probably why a lot of people had, you know, issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
and the most misleading teaser trailer ever. When they first showed the teaser trailer to Alien 3, there was a graphic of an egg coming down onto a planet that was supposed to look like Earth. So it made everybody think, like, okay, yeah, the aliens are coming to Earth.
Nope.
Wrong. Prison planet.
But you know what? Let's go to Alien Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection, written by Joss Whedon.
Yes.
Yep.
Joss Whedon, pre-Avengers.
It was
and pre-Lost too.
Yep, it was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Okay, we got some names here. Who else? So we started Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder as, I forget her name was Call, the android. Also starring Ron Perlman, Mr. Hellboy himself.
And Deathstroke in the Teen Titans series.
Yeah. And also one of my favorite underestimated actors, Mr. Michael Wincott. I love him. I love his voice. I love the way he talks. He's such a cool dude.
And you know what the crazy thing is? In Alien Resurrection, Ripley realizes that in order to save humanity, with that alien inside her, she not only has to kill the queen, she's got to kill herself.
Yeah, that was in Alien 3. Then what they did was they picked up remains of her blood samples that they got from off of, I believe the planet was called Fury 101, from Alien 3 when the character Charles Dance took a blood sample from her. They took that blood sample and they cloned her with the queen inside of her. And there was a real messed up scene where she discovered all the other clones that didn't make it.
Yep.
Oh boy.
And you know what? If you think about it, you remember that when we did our DC Animated Universe episode? Remember the first one, Superman Doomsday?
Yes.
Remember when the clone Superman found all the other clone Supermen?
Yes.
They might have gotten that from Alien Resurrection.
It freaked them out. There were some elements of the Aliens comic book. I don't know if anybody's ever read the first 4 episodes of the. It was a 4-issue series of Aliens, the comic book, put out by Dark Horse Comics, where there was a sergeant that wanted to train the aliens to be soldiers. He even put numbers on their heads and everything. So if you ever read that comic book and saw Alien Resurrection, you could see where the influences came from.
And that probably influenced Jurassic World with the Velociraptors.
Exactly.
Because they wanted to use the raptors in Afghanistan.
Exactly. Which brings us to, we're just going to go ahead and just get through it. Alien versus Predator.
Look, I liked Alien vs. Predator, the first one. I liked the first one.
Starring Sanaa Lathan.
It had, basically, it crossed 2 big franchises together, especially with the way Predator 2 ended. You know, you knew they had to combine those 2 at some point.
Exactly. It was one of those teaser things, just like with that one particular Jason movie.
Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason Goes to Hell, and Freddy's hand came out and grabbed the mask that just made everybody excited. At the end of Predator, near the end of Predator 2, when you go into the Predator's trophy room, you saw the skull of an alien. Yep.
And with Alien vs. Predator, we find out that in the past, the Predators were the ones who helped develop human civilization with the pyramids.
Exactly.
Like, they were the true Egyptian pharaohs. And what they did, they would breed the aliens inside some of their followers so that they could hunt them.
Now here's another trivia. Did you know that the idea of Alien vs. Predator was also a comic book? Okay? Yeah, Alien vs. Predator was a comic book. It started off in a comic book called The Dark Horse Showcase, where they had like 3 different stories, and there was one, and it was in black and white. And to tell you the truth, I bought it right here at the store. Well, actually, when it was on Broad Street, but I bought it right here at the store.
And you know, some people say the comics were a lot better than what they did with the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of Alien vs. Predator pretty much came from the comic book series, which was a much better series, and I think they should have went and stayed more with the comics.
But you know, the way it ended, it had a lot of people excited because, you know, the Predator that ends up dying at the end, and his chest bursts out, and you see an alien hybrid, alien and Predator hybrid.
The Pred Alien, which grew up to full size in the really disgustingly horrible Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Let me tell you how terrible it was. There was a fight scene between the aliens and the Predators that was filmed so dark, you can turn off the lights and turn your brightness all the way up. You still won't be able to see them fight.
And here's all you need to know about how bad we think it was.
Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was dark.
No, you're not exaggerating. You know why?
Why?
I can sum this up in 2 letters. PG. That's what the rating of the movie was.
PG.
At least Alien vs. Predator, the first one, was PG-13, so we got to see something. But Requiem, just PG.
Wait, whoa. Are you? It was awfully violent.
All I know is
I have to do more research because there was an unrated version that came out where heads was getting blasted and everything.
Yeah, but the theatrical rated version was PG.
Oh boy.
That's why.
Oh well.
But you know what? Things started to come back thanks to Ridley Scott
Yep.
with Prometheus.
Now Prometheus starred Noomi Rapace and the phenomenal Mr. Michael Fassbender.
Who's had a phenomenal career the past 7-8 years.
I mean, he doesn't phone it in. He puts it all in.
One of the best actors of his generation. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: a lot of people have issues with the fact that there are no aliens in that movie,
right?
Even though they tease it. Mm-hmm. Just remember, it's called Prometheus.
Yes.
Not Alien Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically how this species was first created.
The cool thing is about these particular aliens that if they affectionately call the engineers, we found out that that was the race of alien that was found in the original derelict ship in the 1979 film that was sitting in that giant chair with the hole in his chest. And we all thought that that's what the alien actually looked like. No, that was only an exoskeleton suit that he was wearing. Because we remember the creature that was sitting in that big chair, the one that had the long nose, who looked like it was going into his chest and everything. The one where the astronauts were first came down that came down from the Nostromo to investigate the warning or the distress signal, and that was where they first found the eggs in the original Alien. That big creature that was sitting in that giant chair that everybody called the space jockey.
Yeah.
He was actually one of the engineers, and what he was wearing was actually an exosuit. That's not exactly what the aliens look like. So Prometheus was basically about that race of creatures that had a hand somewhat in creating the alien.
Well, here's the thing that people really should be griping about, which a lot of you do.
Mm-hmm.
You remember towards the end when those two women are running from the falling tower?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they run in the path that the tower is falling
I
in?
know.
Why didn't they just run to the sides?
I play that back in my brain. I go, okay, if I was running, would I really be able to escape? No.
A Godzilla-sized tower? I don't think so.
Straight ahead, like veer to the left, veer to the right.
Hey, you know what? If you ever watch How It Should Have Ended on YouTube, they cover the same exact thing. I was like, thank you. That's how we felt.
Yes.
But you know what? Well, let's slide in to the most recent movie just came out, Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant. Now, Alien Covenant pretty much takes place after Prometheus.
10 years.
Just a little bit of a spoiler warning. Okay.
Yeah.
The character Elizabeth Shaw and David commandeered one of the derelict spaceships. Well, it's not really a derelict spaceship. One of the engineers' spaceships, the big bone-shaped ship. And she wanted to go to paradise, to go to the place where they supposedly created all humanity. These creatures are supposed to be the engineers and the architect of human beings, and she wanted to know why they were making these this virus in these vases and using them against humans to kill us. So she wanted to go to that planet. Everything that she needed was on that ship on how to get to that home planet, and there's a little film, if you check it out on YouTube, that is like a prologue or a prelogue or to tell you exactly what happened to Elizabeth Shaw. There's also another film that shows the crew of the Covenant before the events that you see in the movie.
Well, as long as Alien Covenant does well in theaters, Ridley Scott's gonna come out with a movie that'll probably be titled Alien Awakening.
Yep.
This will be set in between Prometheus and Covenant.
Okay.
Which shows what happens to David and Elizabeth Shaw when they're on that planet. And, you know, that'll be the first of, I think, 3 films that'll come out. And those last 2 will lead into the original 1979 movie.
All right. Now, let's go on ahead and give them the review of Alien Covenant. Loved it.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. It brings the Alien legacy back on track.
Yep.
I mean, depending upon where you're at. To me, it went off track with the Alien versus Predator films. No, actually, it went off track with Alien 3. But but it brings back the fear. It was a great story that made sense, and Michael Fassbender acted his behind off. He basically carried that movie on his back.
And Ridley Scott still shows that even in 2017, he still got it.
Yep.
He hasn't lost his touch a bit.
Exactly, exactly. And the film is basically about a ship full of people that were meant to colonize a planet that was discovered. And during their travels to that planet, they were awakened out of their sleep by an explosion or flare in space. And that's when things get a little haywire. They decide that they decided that they did not want to go back into cryo sleep, but to go on ahead and check out another planet that was nearby, that happened to be the home world of the engineers.
And just think, if they hadn't done that, if they just gotten back on course, we'd have no franchise.
That's true.
So, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode that covered the Alien franchise.
We tried to cover it as much as we possibly could in such a short time. But we have a much bigger job in an up-and-coming later episode of H&R Movie Talk. It's going to be, I insisted upon, 3 episodes all about the Star Wars films. Coming soon.
You're going to love it.
Yep. So until next time,
keep quiet in the movie theater.
Stop kicking my seat and we'll be fine.
Thank you very much.
See you next time. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Everything I told, man. I told you, you want to make a